Hi everyone, and welcome to the class, the video for exponentials and logs, chapter 2.1 in your textbook. Now there's a lot of assumptions based on last year's work that you understood indices and logs, and so I guess I'm going to kind of ride on the back of that. If you're not confident with those sorts of things, hopefully it'll come up and you'll see which areas you need sort of improvement on. But if you really do have a lot more questions, or you're really uncomfortable with it, just come and have a chat to me and I can sort some things out. But just a recap of some of the rules that you remember or hopefully have seen from years gone by. These rules here, I won't go through them in great detail, but whenever we multiply two bases, so indices with the same base, we add the powers together. When you divide, we minus the powers, and that can be written like this one here. It can also be written like this one over here, so x minus y, like that. When we've got a bracket around the power, we actually multiply the powers together. So it's different from up here. This one we add, these ones we multiply. Again, I'm going through them fairly quickly. Anything to the power of 0 is always 1. Now, a to the negative x, you can write a negative power, you can write that positively, or you can, I guess, you can rearrange them to look a lot of different ways. So a to the power of negative x is the same as 1 over a to the x. The way I kind of remember that is that you can move things up or down as long as you change the sign. So for example, if you've got a to the 3 over b to the 2, that can be the same as say 1 over b to a negative 3. And that's also the same as 1 over, b negative 2 over a negative 3, and so on. There's lots of different combinations. We usually like to leave them as positive powers, so that's what you'll find the textbook asking you to do quite a lot. So you can drop it down and change the sign, or move it up and change the sign, but you only change the sign of the power. You don't change the sign out the front. Okay. So. And then the last one is fractional indices. Remembering this one's probably the best example here. If you've got the y-th root, if that makes sense, of a to the power of x, that can be written like this. The y is down the bottom of the fraction, the x is up the top. So the square root of a is a to the half. The cubed root of a is a to the third, and so if you've got the cubed root of a squared, that becomes a to the 2 over 3. Okay, and you can muck around with these and make them really nice for particular questions, which we'll probably see a little bit later. Okay, the other thing that you just need to remember is some fraction things, because we don't need to teach these, but it's important to know these kinds of things. So when you've got two fractions multiplied together, you just multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. When you've got two fractions added together, you have to get a common factor, or common denominator, really, I should have had there. So with this one, I'd have to multiply this one by b, which means I have to multiply the top by b, this one by d, multiply the top by d. Once you've got a common factor, a common denominator, then you can add them together. Okay, and then lastly, when you divide fractions, you flip and multiply. So you flip the second fraction and then multiply them out. Hopefully that's all. That's not new, that's stuff you know. Just a couple of tricky things that I've seen in the textbook and in other questions. Just different ways to write these things. 4 to the power of n can be written like this, 2 multiplied by 2 to the power of n. And then that can be, I guess, when it's 2 to the power of 1 and 2 to the power of 1. That looks like a 21, doesn't it? 2 to the power of 1 and 2 to the power of 1. You can actually expand the brackets on that, multiply the powers together, so it's 2 to the n times 2 to the n, and then if you wanted to, you can add those two together to become 2 to the power of 2n. So 2 to the power of 2n is the same as 4 to the power of n. Similarly with 12 to the power of n, that can be 3 times 4 to the power of n, and then that's 3 to the power of n, 4 to the power of n. And remember that 4 to the power of n is 2 to the power of 2n. Now, sometimes we'll actually go from here back to here. Sometimes we go from there to there. Really, there's no kind of right way. It's just really knowing them very well, so you can manipulate them for what you like. Something that you probably have seen a little bit of, but there's a lot more of this in Year 12. 3 to the power of 2n minus 1, so all of it's in the power. That can be broken up into two different sections. By a multiplication sign. it's 3 to the power of 2n multiplied by 3 to the power of -1, and that can also be written like that. Okay, that kind of takes care of the indices or exponential things. In a moment I'll do some logs, and I'll also talk about this special number e that you're going to come across as well. But that's it for this video. Thanks.